First and foremost, I just want to say that I might be changing settings throughout this entire video because this video is filmed over the course of a couple days, but hopefully you can still follow along.
Hey guys, my name's Coleman. I'm a drum major at Chisholm, and my favorite kitchen utensil is a spoon. And today's video is about 3/4.
So we're learning about the two different types of 3/4 time, and depending on how fast the tempos are, that determines which style of 3/4 time that you'll use. And for the audition process, you'll use both versions but at different times. The most common style that Saginaw does for 3/4 time typically looks like an arrow or like this. So beat 1 obviously is emphasized the most. Basically that's how it is for every conducting style that we do. And then beat 2 and 3 come out half of that length, just like any other conducting style. The motion for 3/4 time is just going to be 1, 2, 3. So your beats are always going to hit at the plane or the bottom of your box.
So the other 3/4 pattern that y'all need to know is the dry 3/4 pattern. This is what it looks like. This pattern is typically used at faster tempos. There's a lot of things that you need to focus on when doing this pattern. One thing is that 1 is very important, and that's hitting it right here. 2 is leaving the beat. So a lot of people think that it's hitting out here on the other side of the triangle, but it's actually leaving it. So 1, 2, and same with 3 is leaving. And the te of 3 would be at the top of your triangle. So 1, 2, 3 te, 1, 2, 3 te, 1.
Another thing I wanted to point out is that whenever we're doing faster tempos, you want to use less shoulder and more elbow. That way your arms are free to move faster and you're not late to any beats. And here's us conducting dry 3/4 time. So here's an example of us conducting the more common form of 3/4 time. I'm just gonna go ahead and include 4/4 time in this video. That way you guys can continue to practice and we can speed things along. That way we're ready for our online things starting next week. 4/4 at slower tempos kind of make the same like downward arrow shape. So it's gonna look something like this. For every beat that you hit on 4/4 time, it should hit at the bottom of your plane or your box. When I'm referring to your box, I just mean like the general area that you take up with your arms to conduct. Whenever you conduct 4/4, it's gonna be 1, and then you're gonna like rebound up a little bit, and then you go back down and hit 2, 3, 4, and then go back up to reach up for 1. So every single beat is on the same plane. The tes are always after you've rebounded off of your plane, so it'll be 1 te, 2 te, 3 te, 4, and 1, 2, 3. For this pattern, you just want to keep everything very even and not too fluid. Just make sure everything's even whenever you're doing the different motions. Every time you rebound, just don't rush going to different beats. When you rebound, try to make sure your hands don't like flick much like this. Just keep them even, keep your palms down. So here's the example of us conducting 4/4 time. This is just a reminder that whenever we're conducting faster tempos, you have to use your elbows more than your shoulders, because over time, if you're constantly doing it wrong, it will hurt. For dry 4/4 time, it's gonna look like this. The main thing, obviously, always is beat 1, so you want to emphasize that the most. So you could bring it up to your eye level, and then bring it down to the bottom of your plane, and then you go in for beat 2. Your thumbs do not touch, but you keep your fingers facing forward, and then go back down for beat 3 at the same plane, and then you come up for beat 4, and then it just continues to the next measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So the stopping time actually matters a lot, because it's easy for people to tell where beats 1 and 3 are. So it's 1, 3, 1, 3. And you don't want to start moving your hands until you get to the next beat. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And make sure your stops are very strong. That way it's easy for everybody to see from the field. And here's us doing dry 4/4 time. Hopefully the clips of me and Coleman conducting can give you guys some good insight on what good matching looks like. I'm not sure what the process is going to be for group conducting, or if we're even going to get to do it, but it's just always good to have some like image of what that's supposed to look like. So just be prepared for anything. So I know I texted you guys individually about getting practice time, but at the moment we're unsure of what might happen, and I'm mostly referring to like the lockdown situation. So I think it's best for us just to continue to be flexible, and if you haven't already, send Mr. Pearson or me your email so we could contact you and make sure you can get signed up for the online practices that we're going to start doing. I think that's it for the most part. Just continue to keep your phones on you and whatever form of technology that you use to communicate. That way we can get this process started, especially to get you guys prepared for auditions. I'm putting the 3/4 and the 4/4 Spotify playlist down below, so just click on that link, and then I'll also send it out on the Remind. That way you guys can have access to that as well, and it just gives you more songs to practice to. As always, if you have any questions, hit me up. Wash your hands, continue to stay safe, and I'll see you guys probably in the next video or the online practice thing, whichever comes first.